My people, my agitation, or rather our agitation, is against the leadership of Nigeria and Africa. Because we believe very strongly that when you have good leadership, then your country is good to go. We have also seen in major countries in the world where life is good, where governance is given to the people the way it should be. And that the only way that can happen is when you have the right leaders. It is not rocket science to have a better life. It is when you have leadership that have thinking caps, leadership that got something upstairs. That's where your life, or the life of the people rather, will begin to flourish. Now, we've been told many times, and I'm glad to say that for this agitation we've been doing, we've been getting accommodations left, right, and center. People, commending us for what we're doing. People, telling us that this is the right thing to do, and they're ready to come in whichever way they can. At the end of the day, what I always tell them is, it's not just enough to comment what we're doing. You better join what we're doing. Whichever way, if you want to go on social media, just go on social media and join the agitation. And let us continue to put pressure on these so-called leaders of Africa and indeed Nigeria. I always single out Nigeria because I believe very strongly, like I've always said, that if Nigeria gets it right, Africa will have no choice and to also get it right. Africa being the leading nation in Africa, Nigeria being the leading nation in Africa, everyone looks up to Nigeria. And so, if Nigeria gets it right, we'll get it, Africa will get it right. My people, as we speak now, the elections matters in Nigeria is still being contention, and it's gone up to the Supreme Court now as we speak. If you ask me, I will say nothing's good is going to come out from the Supreme Court. The indices are there to show that nothing good is going to come out from it. Let me also say that the February 25th presidential election in Nigeria have actually gone to show people like me the depth of the trouble we're in Nigeria. It has gone to show people like me how much rot is in Nigeria. And it has also gone to show people like me how, more than ever before, it's important for us to start calling these men and women to account for their stewardship. We have left them too long, and the result, like I've always said, is what we are all suffering today. These men and women were put in the hands of affairs of our country. The last 63 years of our independence have failed woefully. And the recruitment process, we need to start changing it. And if we don't talk, if we remain mute, as we've always been, these men and women will continue to do what they are doing, or rather what they know how to do best. We must stop them now. Nigerians, you have no reason, like I've always said, and Africans, you have no reason to go to bed hungry. Because God, in His infinite mercy, has given us everything to live a better life. The question you must ask yourself, and you must also every day ask yourself is, why, in the midst of all this plenty, am I suffering, or are we suffering? Why? It's leadership. I was, fortunate, or rather unfortunate, to run into somebody from Dubai not quite long, and the young man, what he told me was quite inspiring, and I felt a bit abacked by what he said. When he said that in Dubai we don't have anything, but what we have is good leadership. And in the case of Nigeria, you have everything, but you don't have good leadership. I was shocked. But the young man was actually telling me the truth. That's the truth. Nigeria has everything. Everything. Because without being I've been privileged to see quite a few countries in the world. And I know that they are not anywhere close to Nigeria in terms of what God has given to us as a people. But these countries, they are doing wonderfully well. It's because of leadership, for God's sake. In the case of Nigeria, leaders, these men and women will not live there. Don't be cheeky. Don't let anybody come and tell you any stories. They've not left the scene since 1960. And they're still not ready to leave. They're even building up their generation, their kids, to take over from them. And we're there looking at them. If Nigerians feel that they're actually suffering, and Nigerians feel that what actually belongs to them, their rights being denied, their right to decent living, their right to be safe in their country, their right to have, adequate medical facilities, is being denied. Then they should confront those who deny them these things. To take back the country. And the people are leaders. For now it's clear. We must channel our energy to where our problem is, and not to God. That's why nothing seems to be changing for good in Nigeria, because we're actually channeling our energy to God, who has done everything for us already. So God is just looking at us and saying, wait a minute, what do they want me to do for them again? God has done everything. If you like, go on Google, do research on some wonderful countries in the world, see what they've got naturally and see what Nigeria has got. Then you will know the harm, you will know the mess our leaders have caused us. Nigerians, wake up. Nigerians, let us start holding these leaders, these men and women who call themselves leaders, accountable. Because they are not going to hold themselves accountable, because they are part of the system. They are all beneficiaries of the system. The only people that will hold them accountable, because those you and I hear some people will say, oh, you live abroad, why don't you come home and just show them that they're part of the system? I do the agitation. I'm just showing that they are weak. Oh. I'm just showing that they've been brought over. We all must not be able to do the agitation. And we all must not be abroad to do the agitation. We all must find a way to do our, quotas, contribute our quotas to the system, either by way of logistics or otherwise. As long as you are contributing something, the contribution matters. Because at the end of the day, it's going to take quite a huge fight to get these people out of the sea. As they always say, power is not given. You have to fight for it. In the case of the Maoist now in Nasrok, he says you have to fight for it, you have to grab it, you have to steal it, and you have to run away with it. And that's what the man has just done, and that's what the man is about to run away with. And the people are looking at it, and are looking at the system. The people must wake up. It is not the elites. They will not wake up because they have no reason to wake up. Like I said in my last broadcast, they've even fed for their 10 generations already. So, you must understand that you have no reason to be poor. The reason why you are poor is your big man and big woman at the top. And so confront them. By the time you start confronting them, they will begin to understand that it is no longer business as usual. And with time, you begin to see things changing. This is how they all got it right in abroad too. It just didn't go right overnight. People had to agitate. People had to ask questions. People had to demand for answers as well. Because the thing is, even you, when you are in the leadership shadow, and no one comes to agitate or tells you that what you're doing is wrong or right, you tend to believe that everything you're doing is right. It's normal. In the case of Nigerian leaders, get them to sit down and look at what they've done in their country since 1960 to date and see how far they fared. So, all the monies they've borrowed, left, right, and center, what's the result for it? Nothing. A country, an oil-producing country, a country with 4 refineries, if I have my records right, there's one in Warri, Port Harcourt, Kaduna. I think it's 3 or 4 refineries in Nigeria. None of them is working. And if they tell you how much money have been invested in those refineries to refurbish them and even build new ones, you'll be amazed. If you go to the electricity sector, they tell you how much they've spent on the electricity without a single bulb being lit, you'll be amazed. If they tell, in virtually all the sectors in Nigeria, stories. And they keep telling us the same stories, and we keep listening to them. We can change things. We can get things working if we want to get things working. But things will not change overnight. And things will not change by just sitting back and not doing anything, not saying anything. We must change our leadership recruitment process. We must begin to hold them to account for their stewardship. What's currently happening in Nigeria is a shame. It's a disgrace, and I'm disgusted. You can't have a country run in that manner, where there are no policies, decisions are weak, people just come and do all sorts of things and get into power, people with questionable characters. I've always said it, in a safe society, somebody like Alhaji Tinubu will not be in government because he has no clean records, for God's sake. In this case, it doesn't matter to me if he's been found guilty in any of those matters. The fact that his name has been called to any of them at all is enough for him in a decent society to resign. It's enough for him in a decent society not to even come out for public office. But because they know that Nigeria is such a country where anything goes, it's such a country where manipulation is the order of the day, it's such a country where they can actually get away with literally everything they do. That's why people like that still have the guts to come and vie for political office, and the result is what we are seeing today. Nigeria is a laughingstock. Nigeria is now a country where people use, to do, comedies. This is shameful. This is unacceptable. Nigeria is a respected country, like I've always said, among the Committee of Nations. Nigeria is supposed to be a leading country in Africa. It's supposed to be a country where all African countries will look up to. Because Nigeria has not been able to keep our acts together, Africa has also become a laughingstock. Leadership is key. Leadership is everything. Like I said, I've been privileged to see some countries around the world. All they have is leadership, nothing more, nothing less. They don't even have a quarter of what we have as a people. But what they have that is going and working for them is leadership. If we are not ready to change these leaders and get all of them to retire, make them understand that they have failed the country and there's need for them to leave the scene, they will not leave the scene. Like I said before, they're already building up their children to come and take over from them. Nigeria is supposed to be for all of us and not for a few. Please, let us join hands together to continue this agitation against our leaders. Because I know that leadership is the bane of our problem. Once we are able to get leadership right, with what God has given to us as a people, Nigerians, that country will be a country where the whole world will want to come and see, where the whole world will come and take an example from. Because we have both human, material, and natural resources from God. A country of over 200 million people. There are some countries with their human resources alone, they are good to go. And so, leaders is and will remain key. With this, I want to thank you all so very much again for listening to me. Let us get on with this agitation together. Let us see how we can come together, put forces together, and ensure that with time, in a very short while, we will begin to get results from our actions. I thank you all. Bless you all. God bless you all. God bless Nigeria. God bless Africa. Bye for now. And cheers.